विश्व में हमने युवाओं इसके बाद
Hi everyone, very good afternoon and namaskar to everyone to yet another webinar on the 19th Feb in the afternoon of a lovely afternoon on this, and we are going to discuss how technology can shape Indian education system. We are here going to discuss regarding the approach, opportunities and the challenges how technologies will affecting the Indian education system, and we have a esteemed panelist from the Pan India to share their views on this particular topic. So before this, I would like to introduce our esteemed panelist. I would like to introduce Dr. Sanvi Bajaj, Principal, the Maurya School. So welcome Dr. Sanvi, welcome to this webinar and welcome to join us in this summit.
Thank you, Abhishek.
I would like to welcome Dr. Seema Negi, Director, Principal, Sanjeevani World School. Welcome Dr. Seema ma'am. Welcome to
Thank you,
this
Abhishek.
webinar.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome Dr. Reena Jain, Director, Witty Group of Institutions. Welcome, Dr. Reena.
Thank you.
And I would like to welcome Ms. Revati Srinivasan, Director, Education, Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School from Mumbai. Welcome, Sir Revati ma'am. Welcome to this webinar. And I would like to welcome Mr. Jaspreet Singh, Marketing Head and PR from the Finance Sphere. Welcome, Jaspreet. Welcome to this webinar, and we are going to discuss on this particular topic, which is most important.
Thank you.
So here we are going to start this webinar, and it is very important topic. So before this starting of this webinar, I would like to ask Jaspreet, as you are in this academic field also. So I would like to give you this stage to share your aspects and your experiences regarding this in the education space and your works in the finance sphere. Over to you, Jaspreet.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for the warm introduction. A very warm good afternoon to all the esteemed panelists that we have amongst us. Um, uh, the fact that there's no 2 points that education in the past 1 year has kind of taken a dramatic turn in terms of how it is being approached, how it is being done. COVID has I should say, forced us to change our ways and made us more resilient and made us adapt to newer technologies. That is definitely an upcoming. That is definitely a point that will be discussed with all of the esteemed panelists. However, there are certain aspects to education. As COVID has gotten, as digital technology has gotten positive points, they've also gotten certain negative aspects to it in terms of friction between parents and school educations, in terms of financing and financial fees. FinancePeer has been, as an organization, has been working in the space of education for more than 4 years now. It has been a brainchild of people who have come from very humble beginning, IT and IM alumnus, who understand the importance of education and the challenges in it. Uh, uh, when COVID hit the industry, we realized that we were sitting at a cusp of fintech and education tech space, where on one hand we were allowing these schools and educational institutes to get the entire fee payment of the child in one go at the start of the year, while we were also allowing the children, the parents, and giving them the benefits to of paying the fees in 3 to 12 monthly installments and at no extra cost. The fact that we were able to get more than 300% growth in our customer base in just 1 year speaks of the magnanimity of the issue at hand across the country. We have more than 1.1 million students joined us in this past 1 year. We have more than 2,000 crore plus credit line that has been given out. The best part is, Abhishek, that we have had institutions whose yearly payment is 8 to 10 lakhs a year, and they are also associated with us. So the problem, and we've also had schools whose yearly payment is 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh. So we have been associated with the education system of all spectrum, right? In the education technology space, we are also providing learning opportunities, online and digital learning opportunities from K-12, primary and secondary to bachelor's, master's, and then also for upskilling. Now, so we at FinancePeer has been working across spectrums in learning and financial technology space, and therefore I think it will be a good debate, having going on discussions with the panelists to understand how we can better provide more, and we can join hands with industry and academia and come up with good use cases to discuss.
Thanks, Jaspreet. Thank you very much for your inputs. And sure, we have senior academicians from the PAN India. So I would like to take the opening remarks from all the academicians. So I will start with Revati ma'am. Revati ma'am, your opening remarks regarding these topics and what your views, how you are looking the future, and what is the long-term impact, ma'am. Ma'am, mic on कर ली.
Very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for inviting me. And to all the participants, a very good afternoon to you. And I'd like to begin by saying that maybe 10 years back, when I was doing sessions, I would start by saying that technology is a great enabler. It's going to help you to mechanize and get everything automized to an extent that it takes away mundane work away from you. This is what I said maybe 10 years back. And about 5 years back, I started to speed it up by saying that let's speed up the way we are adapting technology. The world is moving far ahead, and AI and robotics and all have come, and we started to introduce that in a small way, in whatever way each school could do as per their capacity. But this year, technology, and of course, at that time, I kept saying technology is going to be a game changer. Today, technology is neither a game changer nor is it an enabler. I think it started to rule, okay, because it's become the order of the day. The only thing is that we are using what we are doing is where I see the difference happening is that teachers are comfortable using technology as a tool. So while they're seeing it as an enabler, they are also seeing it as a tool, and they are also seeing, but there's no hype about technology. That's what I'm trying to say. It has become a normal part of our daily life. And that's what happened on March 22nd when everything turned topsy turvy. So I think technology has helped teachers add meaning to what they were doing, adding creativity component to their own teaching, which means that it supplements and complements what they are doing in class. And of course, the classroom based pedagogy that we were already always are known for as teachers, they are committed to that. I think it has enhanced and it has supplemented that. So, to a large extent, I'd like to say that while one would say always that teachers are the most important, I think teachers were great in moving from the brick and mortar, complete brick and mortar, to complete technology. That's what happened in the last 10 months. I'm not driving home this point that teachers did not use technology before. They used it, but they used it as a tool. But right now, that's the platform on which we are running. So that's where it is. So the creativity component has enhanced. There's been more collaboration that's happening. And I think we are looking beyond classrooms. So the blended learning, which will happen right now after the schools reopen, will always be there. So no longer now can anyone speak about technology being a third party in it. When you're talking about education, technology, teachers, books, everything will be one. And that's going to be called education. Thank you.
Thank you, Revati ma'am, and well inputs regarding, and we will discuss regarding on the creativity components and the technology as a tool further with this discussion. And I would like to move on with Dr. Raina Jain. And Dr. Raina, we need your opening remarks on these topics and how you looks in the future that what is the overall impact. Dr. Raina, over to you.
So I completely agree. I think all of us in today's date are on the same page where technology is really very important. Uh, Definitely, when technology came into being in terms of Wi-Fi and 4G and now 5G, it was a game changer. But now it is a part and parcel of our life. I must definitely applaud students, parents, and teachers alike, where they have shown the resilience and they have adapted it so well. Initially, where technology was concerned, all schools, I think most of us were using technology, but it was very limited in terms of maybe showing a PowerPoint, doing some research, and then presenting it in class. Now, what we are also doing, probably this would have been a physical or an in-person session. We are also using technology, and I think it it is now to stay with us. It is not going to go so easily, and maybe the pandemic has taught us, how to live with it, and has pushed us to get stronger and stronger with it, so it can be used. Because even when you step out into the world, as students, when you step out and you're looking out for jobs and all, uh, they do ask you how much of technology do you know, because now everything is technology driven, whether it is using a calculator to using your laptop, and anything and everything that you see is driven with technology, right from restaurants to the medical field to I won't be surprised. I think there was recently clipping that I saw. I can't remember on which page, where there was a classroom. Probably it was a dummy classroom with robots as teachers. So I won't be surprised if that is also going to come in very soon. So yes, we need to really adapt, and we've already adapted. So we've seen that we humans are good at adapting thanks to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rena, for your opening remarks. And we will discuss how, at what circumstances, and up to what level we will adapt this technology. And over to the Dr. Seema Negi, ma'am. Ma'am, your opening remarks regarding this topic.
So, good afternoon, everyone. And I think we have heard it from the stalwarts. So, it was a good beginning. And I will just add to it that now we have new definition for T's. It will be now 3T or 4T that will stand for together, teachers driven technology for better tomorrow, or technology driven teacher for better tomorrow, because that is what we are looking at now. When the pandemic started, I think we all were forced for technology, for adapting technology. So it was disaster driven digitalization. But now today, if you ask any one of us, I think we have embraced it so well. So technology along with human creativity, I think that will have the magical power for the future. And our children are blessed that I think they have seen the best of crisis, because we should never waste a good crisis. And I think maybe we wouldn't have been discussing it, because if the pandemic was not there, we would have still taken 2 to 3 more years to adapt the technology the way we have done it. So this is something good which have happened out of this pandemic, that now we have embraced it and we are going ahead with it. I think there is no teacher who has not fully embraced it and not come out with her or his own solutions. Now we have become more of solution driven, and rather than just the consumer of technology, I think we are also becoming the creator of technology. Every school is coming out with something which is different, which is unique. Every day we challenge ourselves, and the best part is with platforms like yours, we share it, because the more we'll share it, the more we will reach to wider audience, and we will be able to then implement it for the benefit of our learners. And I think that is what is the true purpose of education. So if we talk about education for tomorrow, it will be more collaborative, as Reti ma'am said, because now, earlier also we used to say that it's borderless society, but now we have seen it is completely borderless. There are no borders. I mean, we are not following any time frame now, because wherever we need to go and discuss our views, or wherever we need to go for collaboration, we don't have to wait for the physical presence. We are all together from different part of the world, and that is what is the beauty of technology. And it is here to stay. As Rana ma'am said, it is not going to go away anywhere, and we should never eliminate it from our students' life. That is from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Seema. Well inputs, and we will discuss regarding this 4Ts, how we implement and what is the narration in these futures. And over to the Dr. Salni Bajaj, your opening remarks, and after that we will proceed to the discussions. Salni ma'am, can you put on your mic?
Good afternoon. I think everything has been covered by the three ladies, but still I would want to add on that, we have come a long way. You see that, it was like having a school with all the classrooms having smart boards, but they were hardly being used. Like, you have to monitor, the teachers, and show that, at least one lesson per day, should be at least, smart board lesson. Now it's like we have covered a gap of 10 years. Where were we before, 10 months ago, 11 months ago? We have covered so much. I mean, all the teachers who were reluctant to use technology, who were not very comfortable, they never learned how to, make the best use of, technology. They've all learned. It was the need of the hour. Otherwise, they would have become obsolete. So everybody, so I suppose our country, in fact, the entire world, has covered, covered a long gap. And the teachers, when we started with technology enabled classes, the teachers were not very familiar. They were not very comfortable with technology. So were the students. But over these time periods, there was no other option. They now create their own lessons, own new videos are created. Even children also have found ways giving their presentations in unique ways. So I think in case if we go back to being offline altogether, our classes we will not be the way they used to be till session 2019-20. It will be a mix of the mix of technology based, and of course we'll take the best out of the two, and the learning will be much better. Thank you.
Abhishek, please unmute yourself.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Jasprit, actually, you have listened all the academicians, the opening remarks. I just want to know where the finance peer fit in this conversation. So, just from your side, your views.
All right. So before I go where finance peer fits into this whole conversation, there are few very interesting points that has been raised here. I would like to just speak 1 minute on that. Shalini ma'am said that going forward the technology has to be a mix of both online and offline, and I completely agree to her because what we have achieved now is that we've understood the importance and the magical powers of technology at our hand. What we should try and aim going forward is to how we can ensure that we come up with better technological methodologies for teaching. For example, ma'am said about smart boards. I go ahead and said, why not have AR and VR technology to kind of teach immersive learning into the students? Why can't we have VR sets per student? And if you want to explain to them about anatomy of, let's say, of a human being, why can't we go ahead and use that? I'm sure we are going in that direction. So that's one very important point that came out. The second point I would like to talk about is the physical boundaries that we talked about. There is no physical boundaries. I would love to see a place where one teacher, one renowned teacher who's teaching in one school, and the associated schools, let's say, are attending the same lecture from another physical places. So the point I'm trying to make here, Abhishek, is that technology we have, as ma'am said, we have covered 10 years in 10 months. We have reached a place where we have established that it is important. But going forward, we should keep this momentum up and move ahead in a direction where we use it, we willfully use it for better teaching methods and practices. As far as finance peer is concerned, Abhishek, we have a as I said in the earlier also, we have a two-pronged approach where we provide help in terms of ensuring that parents do not face challenges in terms of fee financing for K-12 to masters, right? We provide fee financing solutions. The fact that any time that we go and reach out to a parent and who joins us, we have disbursals in 15 minutes. We have like the fastest disbursals across the country, and we have 100% disbursals. So there is not even a single parent or a child who said, just we want to get associated with you, and we have not passed this dispersal, and that too with minimum documentation. And for us also, technology has been a boon where we everything is digital and everything is smooth and fast. And the second part, I think finance peer fits into the story, is the digital learning space, where although we're talking about K-12, there is a huge market of people who are on the job and they're upskilling themselves. They also need education of some sort, and they also need teachers and guides and mentors. So that's another area that we are providing help in using technology.
Perfect, perfect, Jasprit. Well put. And we will discuss how we may maintain the momentum of this technology aspects in the future. So, coming to the Revati ma'am, as my questions is to you, ma'am, that vaccination process is going on. Soon, everyone will get vaccinated. So, after this pandemic, is we are going to depend on the 100% physical classes, or there is a hybrid model? School will introduce the hybrid model. If school is introducing the hybrid model, then what is the plan, how that a school will be implemented, and what challenges you see that how hybrid can be, the blended learning we are doing right now, blended learning. What is the future of this blended learning in when physical is also open?
Okay. So what I see is like this, that we have to, at some point of time, open schools, and therefore the hybrid model will be there initially. And before we really open it up completely, and normalcy or near normalcy returns. So I have a strong feeling that this hybrid model is there to stay. And whatever we are using as technology, I think rather one thing that we have to keep in mind is that we are now very, very comfortable with technology. And teachers have done events online. I think all schools have done events online. They have done creative events like film festivals and fashion shows and everything possible. They had awards functions, everything. So there's nothing that they're going to miss at any point of time. All that now I look forward to is a very, very clear vision for the school and the planning component. You need to plan yourself so well so that you ensure that all the students get the best of both the mediums, both the real and physical school as well as. So, what we need to plan out is what are those lessons that can be done online and just do it that way, and those that require a lot of physical activities, that requires interaction, that requires discussions face to face, bring them online. So which means that the school needs to plan very, very well. Let's not take a lesson that we could have just done it in online, bring it to class and spend another hour on it. So we could I look at flexibility in the whole thing. That's how I look at the year ahead. And I also look at flexibility for the parent as well, because if I'm not comfortable sending my child to school, well, he can use the online methodology. So that's about it. But at some point of time, the child needs to come in for social skills. So, how do we incorporate that? So I think this is what we have to do. In this whole process, I see the role of teachers changing drastically again. So you can't confine yourself to one role that you played all these years. If you are a class teacher, you have got only this bunch of children. No, it may not be so. So one needs to be completely adept at handling children, um, different kinds of children, and knowing your children very well. So this is where our professional training helps. As a trained teacher, I think teachers know how to handle students, and that's how it will come in. So it's going to be a little more complex than what it was in 2019, and perhaps a little more, a little different from what it was in 2020, because a complete online was a different ballgame completely. Okay, the initial months were a struggle trying to get familiar. Then it is right so comfortable for teachers. Let me tell you, given a choice, they'll prefer that.
Perfect. Thanks, Ripti ma'am. And coming to Dr. Seema ma'am, you have just talked about regarding the technologies, teachers, and tomorrow the three T's and the four T's program. So, ma'am, what is the best practices that you are want to suggest to all the educators that are right now listening to us, that in their organization what the best practices they do for their teachers for their upskilling, and what is the model of this 2021 in the hybrid education that is going to become in 2000 we are 100% physical, in 2000 we are in the online, right now in 2021 we are coming in the hybrid model. So from online, from physical to online, now hybrid. So what best practices you suggest to educators in so that they can support in their organization?
If we go by your model, like we were physical, then we were online, now we are coming to hybrid. That means we are going to taste the best of both the worlds. So, first of all, let's embrace it wholeheartedly and be ready for that. So, what happens, first of all, we as leader, as I always look up to Revti ma'am, as a leader, she starts the change. So, as a leader, you need to start the change. You talk about how do we train teachers. I mean, I think we have, all of us have put our teachers into the entire cycle of unlearning, learning, and relearning, and they are doing that. They are doing that because their children are digital natives and they know much more. Many of the times they know much more than us, and we go to them, okay, please let us know how to work with this app. So are we ready to learn from our children is one thing. We as an educator need to bow down to our learners and learn from them. Learning is not going to stop now. Learning will take you to different landscape. So here, whether the situation permits, and again the situation is different for different states of India. If suppose situation permits Maharashtra and Mumbai, definitely we will be happy to have our children back to our school, because school looks like a barren land or just the empty space without children, as if there is no soul in the school. So that's one thing. But we know, considering the situation, that we will go for hybrid module. Now when we go for hybrid model, our lesson plans won't be the same that it used to be. As Revti ma'am rightly said, that we have to now become more creative. We need to understand that which model will go for self-directed learning. Where are we taking a shift from, say, pedagogy to heterology or to andragogy? We have to think that where are we going, which direction. Now it will become, as it is our education system, we always say that it has to be more of student centric, but now along with student it will be technology centric, wherein they can learn the best from both the world. Maybe very soon we will, all of us, we will upgrade our schools to a module wherein a class which is happening live in the classroom, wherein few children are learning offline module and other children are learning the same thing at their home, so that both the things are going simultaneously, and one group of students are coming on odd days and other group of students are coming on even days. So I think as per our individual capacity, each one of us are working out for that. We are dividing the entire curriculum into, as we said, experiential based learning, wherein we have to bring children to screens or something wherein the children can do on their own self directed learning. So all these experimentation, I think this is the right time wherein we are doing all the experimentation, and we will be ready with our platter before June, as June is our academic year, when the academic year starts. So we'll be ready with that. And trust me, we all are learning. There is no one size fits all approach. There is no one sure short formula that this is going to help to our children. But yes, teachers along with technology will be the one who will play the magic. Initially, I used to say that whether it's whiteboard or it's blackboard, it's your teacher who creates the magic. Now I change my statement and I say teacher along with technology will definitely play the magic. But yes, human element is not going to go away from technology, because this should be a good blend of technology and teachers, so that we are reaching to each and every child, not just academically, but also we are taking care of their social emotional needs. So that is how we are preparing.
Perfect. Thank you, Sima ma'am. Thank you for your input. Well inputs. I think all the educators are noted down with that what the leaders are suggesting now. So it's a overall right now each projection, and we have to work together. So I want the same input from the Rena ma'am, Dr. Rena, that what's your future, that what you are thinking, that how 2021 be implicit, and what are the learnings from the 220 that should be implicit on the long term? Ma'am, your mic is off. Yes, now it's
Sorry.
okay.
I think Revati ma'am and Seema ma'am have already mentioned about what we would be doing in Mumbai, Maharashtra. So technology is here to stay. It's not going to happen that once physical school starts, technology is going to go away. This has been 2020 has been a big learning that you cannot do away with technology. And I would like to add one more aspect to what Seema ma'am said. It's not only going to be teacher and technology, but teacher, technology, and student. Because as ma'am rightly mentioned, that students have also been helping teachers how to use a certain app or technology when they are stuck somewhere. So that is definitely going to stay and going to go on. uh, but one thing also is for sure, where now at this point of time, in February, it's been exactly a year now, where last year in 2020 we were discussing about the pandemic setting in and what's going to be happening, how are we going to do, what is are schools going to close, and all that stuff. Now again, with the second wave coming in, we are still at a dilemma as to what is going to happen. We are still not sure, because the government of Maharashtra kept announcing certain dates and kept postponing. Again, now it has been postponed to 22nd of Feb, which it has gone on to March now. So
Yes.
I think there'll be a better and clearer picture in March, April, when those schools opening in March, April. We'll get to know what happens. At the same time, like Seema ma'am, we also have the June session. So by then, hopefully, we will have a much wider aspect as to how schools will be functioning. But yes, with the vaccines coming in, definitely, initially it is going to be a hybrid mode, or maybe initially it will still start off with an online mode and then proceed on to a hybrid, and then we'll be completely in-person sessions will start. But I think, having said that, this is also a good time to reach out to students and see what has worked and what hasn't, so that we can make it even more effective and better. Uh, and definitely, it has to be a student centered approach and practice, supporting the well-being of a student and engaging them in certain activities. With I think all of you must be with me when I say that we have had some parents and even some teachers complaining, oh, students switch off the camera, or and parents saying, ma'am or sir, please look into this. My child is the video laptop is on or the phone is on, and he's inside his cover sleeping in bed. So we have to work on that, pull them out and say, come on, now you have to be doing this, and we are back to school. Because you cannot even demote a child, or promotion is compulsory. So for student also to realize that I have to be conscious and actively participate in all that the school is doing. So prioritize your relationship with the student. The teacher and student relationship is of utmost importance here. Redesigning the school schedule with equal importance to technology and the physical classroom that we were doing earlier also. So and probable, of course, flexibility in the curriculum assessment and assignment is something that is going to be of prime importance.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. Thank you for this well inputs and the points that you have raised here regarding this upcoming, that how the model is going to be in 2001 and 22. And I will come to the Dr. Sanli Bajaj. Sanli ma'am, I want to ask you that right now in this current scenario, assessment is the major challenge in this from 2020, and we are seeking this online education. Technologies is helping the schools in way of the level. So what your views regarding the assessment in this on the technology perspective, and what behavior change you have seen in the students and the parents and other academicians also regarding this technology perspective?
Let's first talk about the examination. When we shifted to this online platform, so the only kind of exam we could have was, in form of, Microsoft Forms, because we are using Microsoft Teams as a platform. And you not believe, the first exam when we had, everybody scored 100% marks. It was very surprising. So we thought, okay, we will be more innovative and we will have a different variety of questions. So we try to experiment with like, we'll shuffle
Ma'am, your voice is not coming clearly.
very well. Just 1 minute. Can you give me 1 minute? I can change my internet connection.
Now it is coming okay.
Connected.
Now it is coming.
All right. Okay.
Shalini, it's fine now.
Okay. All right. I was saying the next exam, we again experimented, and we basically thought, we are smarter. So we kind of, shuffle the questions. The order was not same. Even for the multiple choice questions, the options were not in the same order. So we tried to, do that also. Then also children scored really, really well. So it was a problem for us. The next exam, we thought, we'll give, we'll make a partly subjective paper and partly objective. Subjective paper, that way, the parents can monitor, and we will have a perfect system, where we can assess them, what kind of learning has happened. You not believe in the cameras were on and everything we did. Children were still smarter than us. They always did. They much ahead than us. We can never outsmart them. So again, they had all their, even the parents, when they were monitoring, they again got very good marks. The answers were copied, directly copy paste from the internet. Even in some cases, even the parents were not ready to accept that this has happened when we called them. So these were the problems we faced. So what we realized was, when we were planning, curriculum for the next session, we thought, okay, we cannot have, a knowledge based examination. We have to move, up the Bloom's taxonomy, where, we have to talk about, understanding based and analysis, and all those questions have to be done. But our education policy has not allowed us to do it. So we thought we'll have a lot of, open-ended questions, but for that we will design our curriculum accordingly. We're going to have a lot of, class discussions and a lot of questions where children give their inputs, and that's how we will have our curriculum in the next session. This is my intake. What was the second part of the question, Abhishek? This was one part about the assessments. The
Ma'am,
semester assessment.
regarding the
Regarding,
behavior change that you are seeing from the 2020 to 21, right now all the students are giving the online examination, then we are coming to the physical examination. So much more eyebrows has been taken that how student can come directly to the physical examination. So what behavior changes you are seeking right now in the student part?
see, the behavior changes are there. They're all alone at home. They're frustrated, isn't it? They're not getting to play with their friends for the for last 1 year. The only friends have been the technology. So that has taken its toll. So you see a lot of behavior changes. I mean, they become very moody, and they have their tempers, and for them, a lot of counseling is required once they come back to the school. I mean, they have been all alone. Some of them have gone into the shell. So that is what I've seen. It's not good, that social mingling and discussion with the friends, those fights, that that has to be there. Plus, of course, other changes, in addition to behavior changes, we also see staying at home, they put on weight. The only companion is the cell phone or the laptop or the tablet. So those behavioral changes are also there. And in Haryana, the children have been allowed to come back. From 18th of January, we started with the 10th, 11th, and 12th. You see them, they would not even look at you. I mean, they would just ignore you, and they haven't had a haircut. They're not smartly dressed the way they used to be. So kind of discipline is also not there. They will take their own time to come to school. If they're in a mood, they will come, otherwise they'll be late. That's what we basically have observed. So we in the next session, there have to be regular counseling sessions also, because if this kind of situation stays on for another year. And we talked about vaccination. R is a big country, with 130 crore population. It's going to take time for everybody to get a vaccine. So, and the parents of the younger children will not be very comfortable sending their kids to the school. So I don't see school opening for at least primary classes. Even for the ninth class also, our parents refused. So we could not even call ninth class. Even we have permission to call 6th, 7th, 8th. The parents were reluctant. They were not ready to send their kids. Of course, next session we'll be calling them. We'll have a hybrid module. So I think this counseling, where we have to talk to them on regular basis, this has to be a part of the curriculum.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect
it.
input. Thank you. Perfect input. Coming to the Jasprit, you have listened all the views. You have seen the 2019, 2020, and we are sitting right now 2021. So, what learning that you want to share with all the educators and other academicians regarding this financial structure right now, regarding this fees? We have so many issues has been we have seen in the 220. So such kind of how we can avoid and what best practices all the organizations should do so that if such kind of situation arrives, how we have to deal in the future. So just as per you are dealing with the academicians, you are dealing with the policy makers also, you are dealing with the industry peoples also. So what your best practices you think that each organization should follow that if such kind of if situation arises, we have to deal in this particular manner.
So, Abhishek, I think a lot of it has been spoken about in terms of how the implementation of education and how imparting of education is currently being done by the education institutes across the country. I think one thing which I would and I've been talking to a lot of professors and deans of universities, and I think one common thing that they have told me is that they are preparing for the worst going forward, right? So what has happened in the past is something that was forced upon us. It was all of a sudden people were not prepared. What they're now doing is they're going back to the drawing board and saying how we can safeguard a school, or how we can introduce a business continuity plan in a school by, for example, ERP as a system in a school, for example, right? How can we ensure that if something like this comes up in the future, we can implement an ERP, and where inventory management will happen, where attendance management will happen. How can we do that so that we prepare for the next time? Having been one of ERP being one of the products, I've been in conversation with a lot of institutions, and that is one area they're going on. Learning management system implementation is another area. So we've been doing learning management system for some time now. Is as small as 100 rupees per child. But that's another area that we're seeing heavy spending from institutes across the country, because they realize how important it is of online education, and how important, as Shalini ma'am said, schools are not going to open in another 1 year. So what is it that we can do to, for example, universities, right? They are partnering with the Udemy's, the Coursera's, the Simply Learns, to kind of provide free courses to them. So learning management is another area that a lot of policymakers, a lot of higher education institutes, a lot of deans, and a lot of decision makers of educational institutes are working on. And sitting and I think after this discussion, one thing is very clear: sitting at the cusp of it all, it's a very exciting phase to be sitting and talking with everyone on discussing on ideas and things. But that's two areas I think people are now going and looking forward to.
Thanks, Jasprit. Thank you for your inputs. And I think we should plan out accordingly that we should work in a particular manner with generating with the relationship with the parents and the student as well. So moving on to we have only 10 to 15 minutes left out. So we will on the final discussion. So I will just come back to the Revati ma'am. Revati ma'am, right now in this COVID situations in 2020, we are national education policy. We have implement work has been in the progress. AI in the education come out. Coding in the education come out. We are talking about IoT also. We are talking about robotics also. So Revati ma'am, so much of such kind of technologies insertion. So are we are going away from the traditional education? And what your suggestion to other educators that how we deal that all these such kind of technology to be implemented in the schools, it how we can proceed and how we can generate the relationship with the parents also, so that no extra burdens comes on the parent. If we are inserting new technology, we have to take extra training also, extra advancement also, we have to buy the gadgets also. So what your best practices you suggest to other leaders also, that such kind of the best practice should be followed, so that the learning based outcome will also come, and no extra burdens on the parents and school infrastructure also, ma'am. So what your suggestion, Revati ma'am, regarding that?
That's a very nice question, because I think the first thing that it begins here at the leadership level, at least that I can see, that one must have a very, very clear vision, which means the school must have a very clear vision, is that what is it that we're going to be doing immediately for the next 1 year. So how are we going to plan it? What is the kind of technology that we need? We need to purchase what is the kind of investment, what is the budget ready? Okay, and then slice it across. Then what's the investment that we need for human resources? That's our teachers, that's our staff members. Okay, what's the kind of investment we need? Yes, budget that as well. And then start looking at the resources that will train our resources. So that means let's understand that an amount of money is spent on teacher training. Why everyone must see that as an investment. Is the teacher going to be with you, or is the teacher going to go out to some other school, is not our concern at all. As long as they're moving to educational space and they are impacting some more lives, I think it's fine. And that's the way we have to see it. So very often people believe that these teachers will keep moving from one school to the other. It doesn't really matter. It's perfectly all right in investing on them, because I think we need good teachers now. We need teachers who are effective, who can use technology comfortably, at the same time use hands-on experiences, provide hands-on experiences, a lot of creative work by the way of assessments, because assessments is one field where you can just keep trying, but you cannot give a creative assessment without having done your lesson in the class creatively. You do a monotonous lesson and you go back and give a very creative question paper and say, this is the best paper that anyone could have said. I'm sorry, but the children will not know how to answer. Because unless you teach creatively, you cannot test children creatively. So I think one has to be very, very clear as to what it is. That's why I said the vision has to be clear. And after we have done that and the training of the teachers, we have to keep in mind, how do we talk to our students about it? While we talk to our students, we also have to take the parents into confidence. If there is a complete deviation in the methodology that we are going to be using, please make sure that we talk to our parents, and you don't have to convince them, but convince yourself that what you're doing is the perfect thing to do. Because if we are not convinced as teachers, I'm sorry, we can't communicate 50% of what we want to do. So I think it's very important to convince parents and take parents along with us. I won't say convince parents, but I just say talk it out with parents. So I'm going to give you one example. About 14, 15 years back, I chucked out textbooks from my school, and I said, we will do without textbooks. Now, parents got extremely worried because we were already doing very well academically. Why are we trying out something? But I was convinced that the performances would improve if academic performances would improve, because the concentration level will be more. What we did was almost every day, I had a different set of parents whom I was talking to, making a presentation on how the school will run without books. Now, it must have seemed an arduous task to someone else who's sitting and listening to me. But to me, it was just plain. If I were to talk to my parents, or my own parents, or to my family about a decision I'm taking, how am I going to be talking to them? That's exactly how I took parents into confidence. And I didn't see them on the other side of the table. The kind of doubts that they had, the kind of remarks that they would have, I just took them in my stride, because I thought that that's very natural for a parent to feel. But the very first batch of children that came up with that, and the very first batch of it, when the students came right from standard 1 upwards and they came to 10, so it's 10 years that I can see the passage. Or I think I started in for grade 6, so it was 5 years later we saw the result. The results was stupendous. In fact, we got the all India first rank that year, and people suddenly got convinced that this was the best methodology ever. I have experimented after that so many times. But every time I experiment something, and I'm a great one at causing disruption, because I feel that if you're far too comfortable in your seat, you're only warming the seat, you're doing nothing else. So I keep causing disruptions all the time. And that disruptions helps you to think very creatively. So that's what we need to do, taking people, all our stakeholders into confidence, being convinced of the way that we are doing. Don't do the change for the sake of the change. Do it because you wish to see the change, or you think that this would work very well. So technology would require investment. Make sure that you have the money, the finance for it, because you have to keep aside some funds for technology. It isn't that you can do on a day-to-day basis that, okay, I need this, now I'm going to buy that. No, you need to plan and do a complete setup, and that setup will help you to expand. Be very creative and allow teachers to debate, allow them to express their opinions, even if it is absolutely diametrically opposite your own views. I have learned that, because I think the more you have people who say no to you, the more you will think better, and the better is the decisions that will come out in the group. And that's how you innovate. Innovation happens like that. You have an idea, you create that idea, and you start experimenting, and that is put to a critic, and it's critiqued completely, it dissected by on all sides, and then you are taking up the best of it. You get the right feedback after doing that, and then you iterate. So that's how the whole process of innovation happens. And when that little idea that has come and has been fruitified is practiced for a long period of time, is scalable, and is economically viable to you, it becomes an innovation. So when we talk about innovations, that's what is innovation. And technological innovation definitely keeps on changing, because technology keeps changing. What's there today is not there tomorrow. Okay, so we have to keep on innovating and make the best use of it. But as far as I think about technology enabled learning or any practices that you do, at no point of time physical school can go. Physical school is there to stay, the teachers are there to stay. And it's like how it is, children go to the hostels, but do they forget their parents? They don't. Okay, can they do without their parents? No. Little things will keep reminding them, and that's what the school is. The school is a second home. So everything from sports to the little fights, as Seema said, that they will have in school, all of that goes in building their character, in the building of their personality. In fact, that is what makes them build their resilience. If they weren't in school and they were cocooned alone at home, they wouldn't be building their resilience at home. Yeah, I'm not saying that parents don't do it, but we can't artificially create stimulus all the time and make them frightened or anxious and things like that. In school, very naturally, they're running for the bus and the bus goes because they have come out of their class late. Now what do I do? So I get back and I look out for it. So this is how children learn to live their lives. So we don't have to teach them life skills as a subject. Life skill is part of life. Those are skills for life, and I'm sure children pick it up like
Perfect. Perfect, Revati ma'am. The school will be always be our second home. This all we knows, and we will try to make it all bigger and larger and lovable to this spot. And coming to Dr. Seema ma'am, your views regarding this tech infrastructure versus physical infrastructure of the schools, and your views regarding the from the policy makers regarding the support to the private schools and other schools organization, how government can support to maintain the particular decorum for the school education in perspective of the technology also, and how we can support parent, teachers, student, academician, industry on the same platform. So ma'am, your perspective, ma'am.
So thank you, Abhishek. It's a very good question. And saying this, I want to say that we do not have to depend on government only to do everything. I think we all can handhold each other. If a private school, suppose if mine is a private unaided school, if I handhold a nearby school and enable the school to use technology in the better way so that it can reach to each and every child, I think that is what we are looking for. As Revati ma'am said, when we invest in our teachers and we train them, if we'll keep on worrying that they will leave us and go, I think that is one thing we should not worry about, because at least they are leaving and going as a trained teacher. So the kind of I mean, wherever they go and teach, at least those people will say that these are the trained teachers. They have come for XYZ school, but they are the trained teachers. So I mean, we know our students are in good hands. So that is what, not just policy maker, but I think it is our responsibility, each one of us, our individual responsibility, that we handhold each other. Because sometime in the passage of that entire bureaucracy, it takes a lot of time for technology or a small whiteboard or a projector to reach to a particular school. So let's not wait for that, because it's our future which is at stake. Our children are our future. We cannot let them wait for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years for the technology to reach to their school and then they start. I mean, that will be too late. This pandemic has shown us that we were not ready for tomorrow. We were not ready for uncertain future. We as educationists, we always say, I mean, sitting here and telling that, okay, we want to prepare our children for uncertain future, but were we ready for that? We were not ready. We were thrown into that. But yes, we have learned adaptability. So what I personally feel is, let's do our bit. There are various organizations who are doing. I'll take an example, a quick example of Rotary Club, my club. We are installing entire digital driven things in few of the municipal schools, because that is what is needed. Why do we always look up to one particular sector or government to do that? So somewhere down the line, are we ready to take the onus? And then when we are ready to take the onus, I think then everybody can grow together and everybody can move together. There is one example I would like to give, because Repti ma'am is also there and I'm very inspired by her, all the practices that she does in school. Now, when we talk about this online assessment, from last 2 years, what we were doing in our school was our senior children, whenever they wrote the assessment, there was no invigilator. It was completely no invigilator examination, because we wanted to bring that life skills. When teacher is there, you are not cheating, perfectly all right. But when teacher is not there and you are not cheating, that is when you are learning that skill. And when did we get the fruit of this entire exercise? It's this year. When our children were writing online assessment, after the assessment, there were many calls that I personally received that it was the strong urge to copy. I mean, they wanted to open one more window, they wanted to open their book, they wanted to open their note, but they did not do that. So it takes time. It takes time for everything. And that is what we have to do, is we need to have a lot of patience, we need to be resilient, and we need to go ahead with the change. But yes, we have to live the practices that we follow. Again, as Repti ma'am said, if we will have not conviction, we won't have conviction, then it will not be seen in our word, it will not be seen in our gesture, it will not be heard by our words that we are conveying to parents or to anyone. So take parents along, make them understand what is the need of the hour. Similarly, take your society along, take the other school along, take everybody along. If each school handholds one school, I don't think we will have to look for any third party to come and help us for this, because children are children. And the
Perfect.
destiny of the nation is there in our class, grooming in our class. So let's groom it together.
Perfect, ma'am. Well inputs, Dr. Sima ma'am. And regarding this concept, no investigator examination, it is well interesting concept. I think every school have to implement that how we can do that, and it will enhance the skills also as well. So coming to Dr. Reena Jain, your views regarding this tech infrastructure. Are we have to focus more on the tech infrastructure, or we will have to leverage on the physical infrastructure? Tech infrastructure, we can work according to the situation, ma'am. So Dr. Reena ma'am, your inputs regarding that. Hello. I think. Reena ma'am, can you put on your mic? I think some net speed is slow, I think. So coming to, I think once Reena ma'am will join. So coming to the Sanli ma'am, ma'am, your inputs regarding this tech infrastructure versus this physical infrastructure. Is the time that we have to more think about this tech infrastructure rather than going to the physical and working on the physical model as well?
See, what we have realized is that this technology does helps much more in learning. See, the children were sitting at home, the lessons were being conducted online. So if we can enhance our tech infrastructure, I think we can go a long way. I remember Jaspreet saying we can use AR and VR. I think that's the need of the art. So we should invest where when we talk about abstract concepts. He talked about human anatomy. Yes, why not? Why not, when we have this as gaming, why not we can have, you can use it in a school. So that will be a good investment, and we should all think of investing where children can have that kind of exposure also, where they can go into the heart and remove layer by layer and see how it works. And there could be other things also. For example, when I'm a chemistry teacher, when children come to chemistry lab, they always feel like mixing different acids, bases, different compounds. And that could result, we have to be very, very vigilant and very strict, and we have to monitor them closely. But in case if we have those kind of technological infrastructure, the latest one, so they can mix, and then you can do all kind of experiments, and there'll be no accidents also. So I think we can do that. That technological infrastructure um, could be a good investment, and everybody should invest. We all have a sound physical infrastructure. We all have
Hmm.
good schools now. Technology also, we had certain technological investment, which was we had invested in technological. We had smart boards, we had 3D, science and maths lab, and we had robotics lab, and we had 3D printing lab, and so on. So I think we can move a step ahead, and we can do it, which will be a smart investment, and which will take the learning of the children one step further, and it will also prepare them for the future, because the future is all
Perfect.
technology.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you, Salil ma'am, for your kind inputs. So, Dr. Rena, ma'am, are you getting my voice? Can you put
Yes,
on your mic? Yes,
yes,
yes.
yes,
So,
I can hear you.
Rena, ma'am, we need your inputs, and after that, within 5 minutes, we will close by the taking the agreement. So, Rena, ma'am, we need your inputs regarding the that in previously we worked mostly on the physical infrastructure, like on the lands, on the lab setups and the transportation. Right now we are moving to the digital infrastructures of the school. So what you think that how we have to proceed and what the leaders should do regarding this particular work on this digital infrastructure?
So I think where Revati ma'am and Seema ma'am and even Shalini ma'am now mentioned, it is very important that we up our digital system. So the budgeting now, which earlier probably was not given much to digitalization of or digitization of the Wi-Fi or the LAN and all. Now that will have to really be looked into by the promoters or the school team. Training teachers, of course, is very important. And one very important thing where you mentioned about AI, introducing new probably apps which are cost effective, because since the budget of every school probably would have already gone high with setting up a strong networking system, so that even if it is hybrid, it helps with uh, the deliverance of the curriculum and education seamlessly. Uh, if we come to the blockchain mechanism, that is something I think that is also very important, which we already have most of us within our school system or within our branches. So it is an emerging technology. It is new, especially it is very new for the education sector. And it has infinite capabilities with every aspect in every aspect of our life. So and a blockchain mechanism is important because these are decentralized, and whatever information you put on it is going to be permanent. No one can tamper with it, or delete it or change it as per their liking. So like maintaining student records, or even for that matter maintaining faculty records, and with reference to their whatever, if it's for faculty, with reference to a particular teacher, whatever lessons they put up, and where students are concerned, their grade. And with the help of a blockchain mechanism, it can be maintained right across till as long as your child is in school. And once probably the child passes out, you can personalize it and give it to that, and the child can then access it, to keep on adding or whatever they want to. So I think by adopting the blockchain technology, one can manage schools within the school network, and also with a larger group of schools, be it within the city or within the state, or even across the country. So this is something that we should look into in the near future, and see how it best works, apart from whatever AI and upping the system and training of teachers and students is involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rena ma'am, and we will like to explore in our next session regarding the blockchain, how we are implementing this blockchain technology in the your school system, ma'am. So coming to Jasprit, we are already over with the time. So Jasprit, I would like to give your closing remarks, and I would like to want to know how the finance peer will help out in all this situation to academicians plus the schools and other stakeholders of the education. Jasprit, over to
Uh,
you.
No, I think Abhishek, everything that can be said has been said. The esteemed panelists have covered everything that is there to the execution of education. I have spoken extensively about finance pair and what it does in terms of fee financing, how it helps parents, and how it also helps managing the operational funds of the school institutes. Revati ma'am talked about operationalizing funds and manage fund management. We help in that side also. I think a lot of learning for me. I will not talk about finance, but a lot of learning for me is that. I'm happy to see that the educational institutes are adopting technology, and we are in sync with it. I think that's the takeaway from me in this session.
Thank you, Jasprit. And as I thanks all my esteemed panelists for giving us your precious time. We are already over with the time. And I thanks all my audience who are watching us. And if there's any offline question you want to ask, all our esteemed panelists are well active on the social media. You can ask any question regarding the technology, regarding the budget implementation, regarding the student, teachers, anything you can directly ask. Otherwise, you can drop the question on education@digitallearning.in. We will directly send to the questions to the end. If we get the inputs, we will revert to you. Thank you, Revati ma'am. Thank you very much for giving your precious time and exploring so much ideas. Thank you, Dr. Reena ma'am. Thank you for joining this webinar and exploring the technologies aspect from the education. Thank you, Dr. Seema ma'am. Thank you very much for giving your time. Thank you, Jasprit. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salni. See you soon in the next webinar with the
Thank
new
you, everyone.
technology
Thanks a lot.
aspects.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
evening ahead.
Thank you.
You too.